Trump's back in the White House. I want to give you my thoughts on it and just have a little conversation about that. It's insanely bullish. I have a couple of key things that I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to. And I think it's really going to help the performance of people's portfolios by understanding what happens next. If that sounds good, hit the like button, chill out for a second, and we'll have a little conversation. So just a quick introduction. My name is Dinny from Bitcoin With Dinny. If you're new here, like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. Let us know where you're from. We're Ireland's first Bitcoin consulting company, and for the last 5 years now, we've been helping people to build Bitcoin pensions and to retire early. And this is despite all the mainstream narrative being against us. Our customers, some of them don't work anymore. And this is why I try and teach people Bitcoin is freedom, and freedom is for everyone. And if you don't understand that Bitcoin is so good, it's because you followed the PSYOP. And if you just do some study on it, we can help you. You can realize that all your life you've been looking for something like Bitcoin. It solves a lot of the world's problems. It's amazing. So America spoke, and it's kind of funny. Like, you're on Facebook. Facebook is like cars. You know, if you're walking on the street and someone bumps into you or something, you don't start shouting and roaring at them. You just go, "Oh, sorry, excuse me." But if you put yourself in the protective cage of your car and someone like drives in front of you or something, you start roaring like a lunatic. Well, like, the internet is that on steroids, because, you know, people have more road rage in a car than they have on the street without the protection of the cage. And when people are online, oh my God, they're just lunatics. So it's kind of funny when I hear, I realize I'm old enough now to know that the world isn't black and the world isn't white. There's two sides to every story, and the truth is always somewhere grey in the middle. But I see a lot of people, Irish people, who have no idea what's happening in America, and they all have opinions. Oh, American people are idiots because they voted in Donald Trump. Like, to say that over half of a country are just idiots that's a reflection on the person that says that. And I just think it's comical. The comments you see on Facebook and in these forums, it's just comical. And that's why I try and spend more time in the real world, and I just come and I create content rather than consuming content, because there's so much nonsense in the consumption of content, because people will just have any opinion on anything, and it's generally absolute crap. So America has rejected the Biden-Harris administration, and it has voted in Donald Trump. Now, for me, I don't care about politics. All right, I realize it's all just smoke and mirrors. It doesn't make a damn bit of difference. Okay, it's all done with lobbying, and it's all full of corruption. And leave that to the baby head kissers. Okay, I can have a bigger impact on the world by focusing on Bitcoin, because with Bitcoin we can actually make change. We're making massive change, and it's a bottoms-up movement. Okay, it's not a top-down thing like politics and politicians and all that game of nonsense. Okay, so for me, I don't really care. Bitcoin doesn't care either way, but Trump is better in the short term. Now, either way, I don't think it matters. In the long term, I know it doesn't matter. In the medium term, I say Trump is better, but like the Democrats were going to print a load of money and send Bitcoin to the moon anyway. So either way, Bitcoin wins in the medium term and the long term. But a couple of Trump's points that he made and things that are really going to accelerate this. Like, for 5 years now, we've been helping people to build a Bitcoin pension, I call it. Okay, and that's because it's the highest performing thing on the planet. Now, most people are going to find Bitcoin when it starts hitting 100K and the media start talking about it again, even though they told everyone it was dead in 22 and we had loads of people make moves, and now they don't have to work, or they're working part-time because of the moves they made in 22. So, and on that side note, I'm going to say mainstream media is dead, because and it's a beautiful thing, because when I talk about corruption, mainstream media is so corrupt, and anyone who's using that as their North Star for information, life's going to be tough for you. Okay, it is. Mainstream media is so dead. And that's because the whole agenda seems to be against Trump. And despite all that, he still got voted in. So that means maybe Americans aren't dumb. Maybe most of them aren't watching the mainstream. And the people who have the massive anti-Trump narrative, not that I'm pro-Trump because I don't care either way, but the people with the massive anti-Trump narrative, I can assure you they're getting their information from mainstream media. Okay? And they've never even listened to the man speak unedited. They've just listened to sound bites, which is, you know, it's quite funny that people form their worldview this way. But the majority of people likely aren't doing this anymore, because despite mainstream being so anti-Trump, he still got elected. Okay? And this is a beautiful thing. And this is the whole bottoms up movement of the internet, because the internet has made information more freely available, didn't change the world overnight, but bit by bit by bit, minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, and year by year, it's changing the world because people now understand how money works. People never understood how money works. So they had to give it to their money manager. They just stayed poor. Whereas now you can go on the internet and you've got 10-year-olds teaching about money to that generation. You've got 20-year-olds teaching about money to that generation. Every demographic, there's someone teaching normal people about money, how to understand it, and how to use it to exit the rat race. Now, I think the rat race is a scam. Work until you die. It's an absolute scam. It's bullshit. All right. But I love working. I mean, it's a scam, the fact that they enslave you into some horrible job that you hate and you do it for the best years of your life, okay? And you never manage to get ahead. That's the scam. Working isn't a scam. Working is great. I love working, okay? I'm here now. I've been working all morning, okay? But it's something I'll enjoy. And please God, when I'm Trump's age, I'll still be working because I enjoy working, and that's a different thing. But the whole brainwashing and keeping the financial knowledge to themselves, that ship has sailed now. The knowledge is out there. People are able to understand about money. They're able to understand about Bitcoin, despite whatever their financial advisor might have told them or their bank manager. They can do the work. And I've had people who are now wealthier than their financial advisor and their bank manager because they've done the work and they made the moves. And that's a beautiful thing. And that's why the internet has democratized all this information. And it's now freely available for everyone. Yes, it's true. Not everyone will choose to use it because Netflix is a little bit easier to watch or more interesting to some people, and that's fine. But that's how the world works. So some of the really cool things, number one, okay, the TLDR, too long didn't read, is like Trump's going to send Bitcoin to the moon, okay? We are in for a face-ripping bull market that most retail people won't be ready for, okay? And even traditional finance people, their heads up their ass. They haven't been paying attention to this thing. And when Bitcoin, it's ripping already. So they're already scratching their heads and going, but I thought it was dead. The European Central Bank told us that it was going to fizzle out there 2 years ago. So surely the European Central Bank know a thing or two. And again, mainstream narrative, mainstream information, you get mainstream results. Me, that would terrify me. I do not want to be mainstream. Okay. I don't want mainstream health. I don't want mainstream energy. Okay. I want to be as far away from that stuff as possible. So Trump says on day one he's going to fire Gary Gensler, head of the SEC. Initially, when they appointed Gensler, I actually thought he was going to be good for the industry, but he's been horrific. Okay, and by getting rid of him, it's really going to allow the industry to get built out. Like we had Operation Choke Point 2.0, where literally all of the Bitcoin and crypto companies in America are either getting sued, they're getting massive fines that they're having to bite off the corrupt politicians and the corrupt government agencies with massive fines, okay, or they're getting shut down. So we need him out of the way because it's like, find the technology, okay, that the incumbents didn't kick and scream and try and slow down. It never happened. I heard Mark Yusko talking, and he was talking about the red flag. Do you know why it's called the red flag? Red flag is just a danger symbol. The reason why you say, oh, there's red flags there, something's dangerous, is because when the car was invented, the people who were selling horse and buggies lobbied all the politicians and said, these are too dangerous. These cars, we don't want these. We want to sell our horse and buggies. We don't want, so obviously it was biased information. But they made it regulation that if you were to buy a car, you had to pay a man to walk in front of the car with a red flag to warn everyone of the danger. Okay? Sound familiar? That's where it came from. So there's no time in history when the incumbents don't kick and scream and lobby the corrupt politicians and throw loads of money at them and incentives at them to get their way. But it doesn't matter. When a technology comes about that's an order of magnitude better than what it's going to replace, eventually it just crushes it. And Bitcoin is that technology, okay? Bitcoin is the financial layer on the internet. Bitcoin is digital property. It's a transition from investing into physical property into digital property, okay? It's a transition from hoarding physical gold to hoarding digital gold, okay? So it's an unstoppable technology. And anyone who doesn't believe that, and that's fine, that's grand. Keep denying it, it only hurts yourself. Those of us who embraced it, I embraced Bitcoin, it lets me retire early. Okay, Michael Saylor embraced Bitcoin and used Bitcoin. It allowed him to have the highest performing stock Okay, his company went from being worth 1 billion, I think, to 30 billion or something insane. It could be 60 billion. All right, so we outperformed everything else in the stock market. Donald Trump embraced Bitcoin. He became president. Okay, the other side didn't. They didn't. Bitcoin changed their life. El Salvador embraced Bitcoin. In 2022, they were the only country whose GDP increased while the rest of the world fell to shit. All right, it went from the most dangerous place on the planet to now one of the safest. It went from a place nobody would go on holidays to a place people are flooding on holidays. So Bitcoin makes it better, and by denying Bitcoin, it only makes your life harder, your life first. So we don't spend any time on the Bitcoin haters because they're only hurting themselves. So he's going to get rid of Gensler. We're going to have pro-crypto regulation, okay? What's her name? Cynthia Lummis has been doing amazing things, and it looks like she's got a seat now, and she's like so pro-Bitcoin. She's an absolute Bitcoiner. There's so many Bitcoiners on Trump's team. People just aren't ready for the fact. Like, Bitcoin is freedom. What's America all about? Freedom. What was this election all about? Freedom. People got sick and tired of the woke agenda, of people having to teach all this bullshit and rainbow colors and nonsense and destroying kids with this bullshit information, okay, and pushing their own agendas on them. People got sick of it. They got sick of the inflation, okay? They got sick of the corruption. They got sick of women's sport being destroyed by transgenderism. That's what the whole vote was. It was the Americans saying, nah, we're sick of this gaslighting. We're sick of this bullshit, okay? This is a country built on freedom, and we want our freedom back. Well, guess what? Bitcoin is a technology that is built on freedom. It was built on people who prioritize freedom. Okay? And a lot of people don't get that. They think it's just some Ponzi scheme scam bubble that can go away. When you study Bitcoin, you realize it can't go away. Nothing can stop this technology. Okay? Countries much more strict have tried. They've banned it. And its adoption only goes up. Drugs are banned in your country, but your country's full of them. And they're bad for you, and they have to come over land borders. And they're still everywhere. How about a technology that allows you to retire early and have more time with your family and set up your kids for the future? You think banning that will stop it? Of course not. Okay? But the opposite is happening. We're not banning Bitcoin. We're embracing Bitcoin. One of the things that Trump has said he's going to do is create a strategic reserve. A Bitcoin strategic reserve. Like, people would want to pay attention to how big that is. That means every country on the planet, all of the big countries are going to have to follow suit just to cover themselves, just in case. So markets are ripping on the news. Why wouldn't they be? Of course they'd be. We've been speaking about this for months. Been helping people. I'm like, get it sorted. We're running out of time. And markets are going to continue to rip. Bitcoin's going to continue to make all-time highs. Okay? And that's going to happen for a period of months. And of course, it's going to crash along the way. So those who don't understand it, will throw the toys out of the pram. But that's why we say, if you're going to come in here, you got to study Bitcoin. Study it. Take courses. Okay? We have a consulting company if you need help. Bitcoin With Dinny. Google us. But take courses. Read books. Spend time. The other way to learn is to spend your money making mistakes. So likely at the worst time, you'll be buying loads, and at the best times, you'll be selling loads. That's generally what retail people do. They give it to our customers and people with better strategies and all the big hedge funds who trade this thing and move the market in the short term. But I think it's been a hugely positive result for Bitcoin. If you've been in Bitcoin for the last number of years and you've gone through the worst bear market in the history of the space, the worst bear market, congratulations. Like, you are bulletproof. Nothing can stop you. Okay? Because you've been through the worst there is and was. And now you're coming into the golden age. Now you're coming into the Bitcoin gold rush, okay? And it could be a 10-year gold rush with crashes along the way. It could be a 10-year bull market with crashes along the way. And Bitcoin goes in an S-curve adoption. So the S-curve adoption is the first bit is slow, but then the technology starts to ramp up and gets really fastly adopted, and then it tails out at the end. And that's like the internet. Almost everyone uses the internet today. We went through the slow stage around the early 90s and then the later 90s, and then we cracked into the 2000s, 2003, 4, 5, everyone was on the internet. And now it's like, yeah, there's a few people who don't use the internet, but the vast majority of the planet does. Well, Bitcoin has gone through its slow growth stage, and I believe now we're just getting into the high growth stage. So it's a really exciting time ahead for anyone who's built a Bitcoin pension. I think history will be kind to you. It'll be kind to your decisions. Those who said it was risky just hadn't done the work. And they'll also say you got lucky because they didn't do the work and they couldn't see what you saw because you took the time to do the work, find the information, and then make your allocations. So it's an amazing time. I want to congratulate everyone for being here. I'm going to continue to make content. I've got to make content now. Like, part of our business is help people custody their Bitcoin correctly. And we're pretty busy with that. So I don't really advertise or speak about it. But, you know, the only way to hold your Bitcoin is in a way that you can't lose it, no matter what happens. If someone tries to steal it from you, if you go and die, if you forget your passwords, if your hardware breaks, if someone hacks your computer, you know, that's the only way to hold your Bitcoin is in a special structure. And over the coming months, I probably will speak a little bit more about it. And, you know, as you guys who have Bitcoin pension plans, they're going to start becoming a lot more significant, and it's going to make you nervous, the amount of money that you hold. You know, some people just have Bitcoin, they have it on exchange. Okay. And that's risky because every single bull market, when the price goes up a lot, exchanges blow up all the time. Okay. And the other place people hold it is they just hold it on like a ledger or a Trezor wallet. You know, yeah, you don't have the risk of the exchange blowing up, but someone can come to your house and steal the thing. Okay. It's not good enough. It's a single point of failure. It's fine if you've got $5,000 or something, you know, have at it. But if it's your pension, for me personally, I want it in a more secure structure. It's a structure that has time locks on it, okay? So you can't just be stolen from you on a whim. Like, there's a whole process and there's multiple failures have to happen over a period of time. And that time can be months or years for the Bitcoin to move. And I think eventually everyone's going to end up in a structure like that. But yeah, it's an exciting time. I'm looking forward to getting this bull market kicked off. I'm going to continue to make content, continue to educate people. I'm not sure how long I'll do this for. I'm certainly not doing it forever, but I enjoy it. It can be hard sometimes with all the stick and nonsense you have to listen from uneducated people. There's a constant barrage of it, but you know, by and large, anyone who's worked with us is in a much better financial position. And I guess I better say the caveat, like, nothing I say is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a Bitcoiner. I'm just an entrepreneur. I'm someone who retired myself under 40 without using Bitcoin. I wish I had met someone like me and I would have hopped on our courses or on consulting, because it would have made my life a hell of a lot easier. But I've done it the good old fashioned way of building businesses. And now we just teach people how to create investment plans, understand Bitcoin, and create a plan for them to retire early. We don't do any investing for people. We just purely give people education on the resources so they don't go to the wrong place. They don't put their money in the wrong thing, and they don't custody it the wrong way so they lose it in the future. I look forward to chatting to you soon. Do me a favor if you're here. Hit the like button. Give it a press for the all-time high on Bitcoin. If you're happy that Bitcoin hit an all-time high, give it a press. If you're only finding Bitcoin, you should put the thumbs down button, because you shouldn't be happy. If you get properly educated, you get happier when the price goes down rather than when the price goes up. But that's for another day, another time. And if you want to understand that more, I've tons of videos on that. Guys, have a super day. Thanks for being here. Let me know in the comments what you reckon the price of Bitcoin's going to be on Christmas Day. Let's see who's right. Dinny out.